This is Team Watson, IBM and Cloud Computing case. I'm Brianna Hope, and I will be stating the firm's problem and issues. IBM Production develops and sells software system hardware of cloud and consulting services. IBM has helped the information technology over years of its production. Being a present player in all types of the cloud computing industry, it is quite truthfully evolving. IBM needs to start focusing on a smaller area of industry and hopes to become a leader in a particular area. Following analysis, we'll find options to solve the problems. Now my colleague Jessica will be going over the internal and external analysis.
For the external analysis, I'm going to talk about the PESTLE, which is political, economical, technological, social, environmental, and legal. For the political, with the internet becoming a new, powerful communication tool in the early 1990s, IBM became a very large entity than in previous years. It also took a few years for policymakers to catch up and set up some common norms and procedures regarding the internet's usage. Despite the efforts to blend the legal environment, regulations are still incomplete presently. Policymakers are moving forward and are busy addressing issues. IBM formed an important alliance with Google, though the companies initially stated their purpose for their relationship was to facilitate university research by providing internet-scale computing to academic institutions. People suspected this was not just an educational initiative. For economical, the economy is in a downturn, which means the funding and investments are scarce. Companies are having increased costs, and IT is no exception. Cloud computing offers a less capital-intensive alternative to traditional on-location implementations, and this will be a key decision when considering future IT projects. Cloud computing benefits from the rapid time to market and flexibility. In turn, this makes it a key source of competitive advantage. For technological, during the past decades, IT infrastructure and service sharing has become a key source of growth. Cloud computing has been a trend that is becoming more integrated in the innovations of IT landscape. Following the same trend in the past several years, an increasing standardization and industrialization of IT, hardware makers would have to choose between supplying servers to cloud service providers and becoming service providers themselves. Software makers face a greater challenge in that they would have to develop a means of metering application usage, either by charging a computing utility rate or a periodic subscription fee. Consequently, boundaries between competitors were far from clear in the cloud. For social, as cloud computing is an internet-based technology, it will benefit from the increasing adoption of the internet and social networks. Social media is known to have an unprecedented growth, and the popularity intensifies almost daily. Many generations are starting to use social media and need somewhere to store their photos and documents. For environmental, cloud computing is considered a way to reduce the environmental drawbacks of IT, using IT infrastructure and more efficiently to reach a higher infrastructure utilization. Cloud data centers are becoming more green due to high standardization of their services. For legal, despite efforts, a common and synchronized legal framework is not yet in place. Regulations for vendors to have free flow of the information between countries are restricted. However, these regulations are necessary to protect the interest of cloud service consumers. The crucial areas where the legislation remains insufficient are related to security ownership and location of data, confidentiality, and intellectual property. The future state of legislation is still uncertain, and it represents considerable limitations as the cloud continues to saturate borders. For the internal analysis, the resources available for IBM and emerging cloud computing are the accessibility to the internet and the having alliances. IBM has the capability to offer companies access to tools that allow them to manage large-scale applications and databases via Blue Cloud. And now my colleague, Zeke Taylor, is going to talk about business-level strategy and corporate-level strategy.
IBM competes using a differentiation strategy. This strategy seeks to create value for customers by offering them unique products and exceptional service. Its customers are willing to pay a higher premium for IBM's products. In order for this strategy to be successful, IBM has relied on three sources, including its service, customer relationships, and its alliance with Google. Likewise, IBM's top competitors also engage in differentiation strategies. The firm's top competitors include Microsoft, Google, and HP. Microsoft has several attractive products with an emphasis on quality. Google is more focused on web computing, whereas HP competes in several niches, including printers, personal computers, and IT services. IBM has sustained a competitive advantage from its competitors. The firm did this by focusing on developing the infrastructure for cloud computing and improving its services. IBM's functional strategies focus on improving its customer relationships, service, and forming smart alliances. Therefore, these functional strategies support IBM's competitive positioning. IBM does not participate in a blue ocean strategy as their focus is solely differentiation and not cost leadership. IBM has diversified itself with business segments including services, software, and systems and financing. Its diversification is classified as related and linked as each business segment shares a limited number of linkages. Specifically, the different segments share in IBM's technology and innovation resources. Overall, the diversification creates value for the firm. The linked business segments allow the firm to sell software to a client, finance the sale, and then provide additional services to the client, thus increasing revenues. The firm has entered into all these businesses through acquisitions and alliances. Before, IBM's main focus was mainframes and supercomputers. However, it sold off its PC division to Lenovo. To improve their software segment, the firm acquired small companies. These totaled $11.8 billion on 54 different acquisitions. The firm has improved its competitive advantage in the cloud computing market by forming an alliance with Google. The firm is operating internationally and has had international growth. Its strategy includes carefully selecting where to build its new cloud computing centers and invest in its other assets. It has already chosen to build several of these in emerging markets, including China, Japan, Poland, and South Africa. In 2009, 57% of the firm's revenues came from international markets. IBM has a functional organizational structure. The firm has one CEO, and below this position is several senior vice presidents for each function of the firm, such as human resources, research, and marketing. This is appropriate for the firm because it is a large international firm which needs leaders in each specialized function. IBM is a strong competitor within the information technology services industry. Its strong financial position is recognized with the market capitalization of $233.94 billion. IBM leads the industry in this category. Furthermore, it is a leader in the earnings per share growth and its return on equity. The firm also ranked second within the industry for its strong price-to-earnings ratio and its dividend yield. In addition, the firm is ranked third in revenue growth and long-term growth rate. However, the firm has a high debt-to-equity ratio of 173.81. The firm also competes with indirect competitors outside its industry. These competitors include Microsoft and Google. IBM's revenues exceed both of these companies. However, it is less profitable as its gross profit margin is only 45.7% compared to Microsoft's 80.1% and Google's 68.8%. Overall, the last few years, the firm's growth rate and its success within its industry is a sign IBM has developed a niche in the technology services industry. This gives the firm a competitive advantage and is an indicator the firm's leaders have been successful in implementing a strategic plan. And now, Cephas Evans will discuss our three alternatives and our recommendation.
As for the three alternatives, our first option is for IBM to focus on the private business market segment, offering software as a service cloud computing throughout the Americas, along with the services and consulting for their products being offered. If this alternative would be used, IBM would need to end their alliance with Google so that they can focus on the private sectors of cloud computing and get out of the public sector. The first alternative would cost the firm around $11 billion, but would produce around $23.7 billion in revenue and have a gross margin of 53.4%. The pros include this produces the highest gross margin out of the three alternatives. It keeps IBM focused on their best business segment, which is software, and it focuses on the highest producing region, the Americas. While the cons include ending IBM's alliance with Google, and this keeps IBM out of the emerging markets of Asia. The second alternative is for IBM to focus on the public individual market segment, offering software as a service cloud computing throughout the Americas, along with the services and consulting for the products being offered. If this alternative would be used, IBM would be allowed to keep their alliance with Google to gain a competitive advantage against the industry using this alliance. The second alternative would cost the firm around $17 billion, but would produce $32.8 billion in revenues and have a gross margin of 47.7%. The pros include this keeps the alliance with Google, it focuses on the highest producing region, which is the Americas, and it also keeps IBM focused on their best business segment, which is software. The cons include moving to a less profitable public market, and it keeps IBM out of the emerging markets of Asia. The third alternative is for IBM to focus on the public individual market segment, offering software as a service cloud computing throughout the emerging markets of the Asia Pacifics, along with the services and consulting for the products being offered. If this alternative would be used, it would end the alliance with Google. This is due to Google no longer operating in this geographical region. Since Google is absent in this region, it would be in the best interest for them to pursue a likewise alliance with Baidu, which is an Asian company similar to Google. The third alternative would cost the firm around $8.7 billion, but would produce $16.8 billion in revenues and have a gross margin of 47.8%. The pros include IBM will focus on the emerging markets of Asia, and it keeps them focused on their best business segment, which is software. The cons include leaving the highest producing region, which is the Americas, ending the Google alliance, and this produces the least amount of revenue out of the three alternatives. As for our recommendation, we are recommending that IBM pursue alternative one, which would keep the company focusing on software through software as a service cloud computing for the private business market segment in the Americas and call for IBM to end its alliance with Google. This is the best alternative for IBM to pursue due to the company's superior performance in the software industry, staying focused on the firm's highest performing region, and this alternative produces the highest gross margin for IBM. This recommendation would impact the firm in many ways, including leaving the Asia/Pacific and European markets, ending the firm's alliance with Google, and would have IBM leaving the interactive as a service and platform as a service cloud computing service markets. And that concludes our presentation.